Welcome to episode 8 of Tripping Oz. In this episode we travel from Nucula on the border of WA and South Australia to the mining town of Kalgoorlie in the goldfields of Western Australia. And from there we head to the gentle coastal town and lovely beaches of Busselton. So I'm in the historic Boulder, Burt Street, Boulder this morning. Really, I don't think much has changed. Kalgoorlie Boulder, of course, is a Western Australia town in every sense. For me, it's like the Wild West. Interesting characters, scallywags, and today, even so, I'm sure lots of scams go on here. Gold is the number one interest.
And a touch of history. In 1893, Paddy Hannon, Thomas Flanagan and Dan Shear found close to 100 ounces of gold near Mount Charlotte, a short distance from what is now the city of Kalgoorlie Boulder. This find sparked the Western Australian gold rush and unearthed one of the richest goldfields in the world, the famous Golden Mile, and more than 3,500 kilometres of underground development. The Grand Hotel was built in 1895 by a guy called W.J. Reynolds of Coolgardie, who decided to move to Kalgoorlie. In 1896 this was Hannon Street's first permanent hotel and was considered to be the most well-constructed building in Kalgoorlie.
I know these streets are all tarmac and paved today, but you still get the red dust on it. There's dust everywhere. At the top of this street is the open pit mine, the super pit. Absolutely huge. Hannon's North Tourist Mine. I'm with Shannon, and Shannon is one of the staff here. He's going to explain a little bit about this place and how it operates and how it started. So, when did this place open?
So the whole place actually closed down in 2011 and we reopened only the surface under the KTGM banner in 2013.
Okay. So it primarily is for tourists to show Kalgoorlie and the gold mine scene, from its history to its modern day. And I guess all this stuff is really, it was working somewhere in the minefields, but it's all been reported to here.
Yep, so most of it is donations, some of it are in hire, on loan, they come from all over.
And we've just done the seminar with Bill down in the gold room. That was very interesting.
Isn't he great?
He's fantastic, what a character he is.
Isn't he?
And also some of the rooms where you've replicated how it was in the old days. People really should come and see this history. It's fantastic.
Very much so. We're always working on new things, always trying to up our game, see what we can offer in the future.
And how's it? Now that's what you call cactus, I think. We're with Bill today at the Kalgoorlie Hanna North Tourist Mine. G'day Bill, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Phil. Yourself?
Not bad, mate, not bad. So, how long have you been here?
In doing this job, the gold pour,
Yeah.
around about 18 months now.
Okay.
Where I took it up when I retired.
All right.
Needed something to do to keep me amused.
And what were you doing before that?
I was working in the mines as a shot firer, then moved on to drilling.
Yeah.
And then eventually the management decided I was getting too old, so they put me in an administrative role,
Yeah.
which was pretty good.
Okay, and that was in Kalgoorlie here?
Oh yeah, all over the goldfields, right around Australia, especially in the latter part of my career. I ended up as a quality assurance coordinator,
Yep.
and I used to go to all of our mines and audit them. Yeah.
Okay, and all gold all the time, that's what you specialise in?
No, gold, nickel, lead, aluminium, everything.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So you see some ups and downs over the years, I bet?
Oh, definitely. The mining is very cyclical.
Yeah.
And you can never tell from one moment to the next because it is a commodity. It's a metal, and 99% of it gets sold overseas. So it depends on what they're doing.
Yeah, and this is a great resource here where you're teaching people about, I guess, melting gold and how it's actually got into ingots and the history of it, I guess. And
Oh yeah, it is. We get a lot of tourists, a lot of locals as well. But the tourists find it fascinating, especially with the amount of equipment and all that we have around the park. And it shows what life was like 100 years ago. And it wasn't very comfortable in the gold fields.
Yeah.
I mean, 100 years ago there was no water, only salt water, and everything had to be trucked in or camelled in. They say it was on camelback.
from Perth.
Well, yeah, it come originally from Perth
Yeah.
up to Coolgardie, and then it would come up here by camel.
Okay, so I guess trains made it a lot easier, and then they bored for water and stuff.
The white's gone off. The train was a big godsend, and that came through. I can't remember what year it came through, but it was in about the 20s, 30s,
Okay.
and that made a hell of a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this is great because I mean the whole place we're going to do some filming. I'll be able to show people how it's evolved over the years, and that's
Yeah.
and you know this is our first time in Kalgoorlie. We arrived sort of yesterday afternoon. Looks an interesting town, and I bet it was an interesting town a few years ago too, or late 3 years.
I mean, we moved to Kalgoorlie when my son was 4. He was asthmatic. We were told to go to the desert, so we moved to Kalgoorlie.
Yeah.
And none of us have looked back. You know, all of us are still living in Kalgoorlie. My sons have got their own families and all that now.
Okay.
It's a great place to live. It's a great place to bring up kids.
Have they followed in the footsteps in the mines? And
Yes,
They
I
are.
tried to talk them out of it.
Yeah.
My oldest son is a driller. He's doing blast hole drilling at the moment, and my youngest son is a shot firer.
Okay.
And that was also one of my favourite jobs, is blowing things up. A lot of fun. Yeah.
Hey, sounds like great fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess you've got some stuff here you were explaining to the people before, which I didn't film, but about the equipment through the years, how it's evolved, and I think you said the first way they protected themselves from the furnace was actually with Hessian cloths.
Hessian cloth. The Hessian would come up, and all your fruit, veggies, such as it was, potatoes, and the fodder for your camels and your donkeys and whatever animals you had, came up in Hessian bags. So, and the old prospectors didn't waste anything, you know, and that's what they used to use. So when they were doing this, and they'd be working in open pits in the out in the bush, to protect themselves, they just dunk the aprons, they're made out of Hessian in water, throw it over themselves, then go and do the pour, and usually by the time they got to the other end of the table, you were already dry and half cooked because of the steam coming off.
Oh,
You know, and Kalgoorlie, it's about 47 degrees in summer here. It's pretty warm.
wow.
Yeah, then they went to leather aprons, which are just straight leather. Once again, dunked in water, put on, and then used that. They eventually come up with this, which is aluminium phosphate, and covered the front of the apron, which was much better, much healthier.
And I guess most of the mines were private mines, just prospectors, and not like today, I guess they're owned by big conglomerates, but in
They
those
are.
days it'd be, yeah.
Oh yeah, in the old days, mines were. I guess in the early days it was no different than South Africa. They'd raise the money through places like England and that, and put a prospectus out. People would chuck in and buy shares. They'd come out and then open the mine. Sometimes they were prosperous, sometimes they weren't. Kalgoorlie itself is the richest square mile of gold in the world.
Okay.
So it's still going after 120 years. We're still mining the same pits.
Wow.
So it gives you an idea of how much is actually out there.
Yeah. And the big super pit up the road, is that gold as well?
That's all gold. Yep.
Okay, we're going to take a look at that later today.
Yeah,
so.
well worth the effort.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
when you look in there, when you look out from the lookout itself, look halfway in the pit, and just a little bit to the north, and that's where this building was.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So this is all replicated and brought here.
Not replicated. It was actually just picked up and moved.
Wow.
Same way we do houses.
Yeah.
Just straight on the back of a truck with some boards across it, brought over here and slid off the back of the truck. Put some seats out and away we went.
Fantastic. That's great. Well, thanks so much for your time, Bill. I know you've been working for the last hour or so, so your voice is probably going, but thanks very much.
Our absolute pleasure. Take care, Bill.
Thank you. The Kalgoorlie Super Pit Lookout. This is what I call a hole in the ground. It's absolutely huge.
Wow.
Well, good morning everybody. And continuing our travels, today we're in Busselton, and I found this to be a fabulous town, which we visited in 2017, but it was great then, but it's changed so much as well, and I think even more for the better. I'm very lucky today. I've got the Mayor of Busselton, Grant Henley. Hi, he's a former Tassie boy, I think. Is that right,
Yeah,
Grant?
grew up in Hobart, spent a few years in Sydney, but yeah, found my love in Western Australia and have been here now for nearly 35 years, I think. So.
Wow, it is a magical place. I mean, this blog is about attracting people to places, and we only film in the best places, but this is absolutely amazing. And one of the things that strikes me is it's actually been designed around people. It's I mean, you've got swimming enclosures, you've got parks, open spaces, there's sports grounds galore.
Yeah, I did a caravan trip around Australia 12, 13 years ago when my kids were young, and did 30,000 kilometres and visited every state and territory, and saw some fantastic foreshores around the coastline of the country, and knew what we had here in the raw material in the bay and the beach at Busselton with the jetty as a backdrop, and took that to, we had a community working group and we got the butcher's paper out and we said, you know, what do you guys want to see? It's your foreshore. And the plan was delivered, which is we've stayed pretty true to over the last decade. And the prime delivery was to make a place that our community would be proud to bring their friends and family and come down for a feed of fish and chips or a swim at the beach or a trip out onto the jetty. So I'm pretty proud that we've managed to achieve that.
Well, you certainly have. I mean, for me, the best thing is the architecture. There's no high-rises, which is great. You go to some cities and they've actually done hiddle-de-piddle developments, but here it is truly designed around the people. The iconic jetty, I think, was this in
1865, so yeah, we celebrated the 150th anniversary a few years ago, and we have the oldest locomotive in Australian-built locomotive still in existence, displayed in Railway House, which used to carry the timber, which was an integral part to the development of the jetty in the 1860s and 70s.
Yeah. And that's 1.8 k's long, I think.
1,841 metres. It's a great walk out over the ocean, or a train trip if you want to get out to the underwater observatory and head down 8 metres underwater and see what's out there in the soft corals and fish that live in that shaded jetty environment. It's a fantastic experience, and you can go diving without getting your feet wet or lugging a tank and weight belt around, which is great fun.
Yeah. Now, I do have one complaint, Grant, and that is I've been around South Australia squid fishing, caught nothing. Busselton Jetty, caught nothing. What is the secret?
Well, I think the secret must be in your technique, because I walk out there a couple of mornings a week and there's plenty of squid ink around, so I'm sure people are catching them. I'm not sure, maybe you need to go for a stroll and have a chat to some of the locals.
I think I might just do that because, you know, I actually have having to end up buying fish and chips and it's costing a fortune, so no, it's all good. And for the future plans of Busselton, Grant, anything on the horizon or?
Yeah, so we commence interstate flights from our airport, which received a significant upgrade a few years ago. We were due to kick off in March last year. Unfortunately, that didn't eventuate, but we're really keen to open our airport to direct flights initially from Melbourne, 3 flights a week directly into the heart of Busselton and the broader Margaret River wine region. And yeah, we're sure people will love to come and visit this area.
Absolutely, and we actually went down to Dunsbury yesterday and to Margaret River. Unfortunately, the weather was a bit rainy, but that's again, it's just stunning, some of the vineyards down there. So you really got everything.
Well, you need a rainy day to get you away from the beach and the coastline and get into the hinterland and explore those wineries, distilleries, breweries. The produce and the food that's in there is really world class.
Absolutely. And where we're staying here is actually on one of the council caravan parks, which is fantastic. Park number 3 to the north here, and that is just beautiful. It's just landscapes and it's under trees, great amenities, and it's reasonably priced as well.
Yeah, it's been a goal of the council for a long period of time to make sure that there is affordable accommodation and something for all the markets. So we have the caravan parks that accommodate the families with the bouncy pillow and the swimming pool and all of those facilities, but we also know that there is a low-cost end to the market where people just want to have somewhere to park their caravan and plug into some power and have some clean ablutions, and we offer that within a very easy 2-minute walk to the beach.
Yeah. Also too, I noticed just today on the way to Dunsborough, the resorts down the coast, when they're Bali style, they are so, 4 or 5 star.
Yeah, that's a great thing about Busselton. We have everything from 5-star accommodation around on the Cape to those caravan parks.
Yeah.
A couple of friendly dogs.
Yeah, and I noticed as well, you're actually building another hotel just behind here, the Hilton.
Yeah, Hilton Garden will be developed here, and we always looked at in developing the foreshore that we would have some scaled development. So the primacy is for community space and playgrounds and areas that people can, members of the public can come. But we do need to have a commercial element to sustain that going forward and to deliver the jobs that we need. So we have the new microbrewery development at the shelter, which sits behind that, and then scaling up to behind that will be a 5-storey Hilton Garden hotel, and on the 5th storey there'll be a function centre which will look directly down the jetty over the bay. So I'm sure that'll be enormously popular for weddings and functions in the future.
Yeah, and maybe conferences too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great market. And one other thing I must say and compliment you on, Grant, is the actual off-leash areas for dogs. You've done it really well. Obviously here you can't, which is perfectly understandable, but down the beach there, you've just provided so many areas for the dogs to run, which is great. And most people are responsible dog owners, so well done.
Yeah, we've got over 30 kilometres of beach between Busselton and the Cape, and there are areas that are our premium areas, such as the foreshore, where we ask people to keep the dogs away, so people can have that beach experience. But yeah, plenty of our other beach, and I used to have a dog myself. It's great to run your dog along the beach and have a swim, and we're glad to offer that to the owners down here.
Great. Well, look, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate you getting it firsthand from you and the council. So great. I wish you all the best for the future.
Pleasure, and good luck with the squid fishing.
Thanks, mate. I'll try. Thanks, mate.